All right, so the Bulls are in a really weird spot right now as a franchise. And I think the most confusing part about them is what direction are they trying to go into, right? Are they going to try to flip whatever they have right now to bring over a win now sort of player, or are they going to go full on into a rebuild? Obviously, they're leaning more towards rebuilding, but even the question with that is who are you going to rebuild around, right? Who is that franchise cornerstone player? And do you have that franchise cornerstone player that you're confident in trying to build a team around? And I get it. A lot of rebuilding teams take a few years to get to that level where they know who that guy is. But right now, the Bulls, there's a bit of confusion because it's been a few years of them being really mediocre or just flat out bad without having a look at who that guy could be. But I do think there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that is with Buzelis, who had a really, really solid rookie year. Numbers did not pop off the charts at all, but I do think he has a base skill set that could make him that potential franchise cornerstone piece sometime down the road for this team and get them on a much better path and direction than whatever they are right now. First thing I loved about his game in his rookie year that he put on full display was an ability to attack downhill and get to the basket. Now, he wasn't breaking guys down one-on-one off the dribble and those sorts of things, but he was doing an amazing job at attacking closeouts and attacking off the catch. And that is a signature skill set right now for perimeter players. Look no further than Tyrese Maxey, who is just stellar at attacking closeouts or getting a catch and being able to go as soon as possible. Buzelis did that a ton in his first year. A good amount of his points came from those attacks downhill off of the catch. I think he was a respectable enough shooter, and I'm going to talk about that in a second, to where he could get defenders to get out there on him, and from there he's able to take advantage, and that opens up a ton of your offense. 6'10", solid first step, knows how to get those closeout defenders off balance and can take advantage from there, and has some solid counters once he got into the paint. So like once he was able to get past that first line of defense, did do a good enough job of reacting and still being able to finish out plays at the rim. The next thing I loved from him was his off-ball play. So I'm going to say this real quick. When I say the phrase basketball IQ, 9 out of 10 times, the first thing you're going to think about is passing or playmaking, right? You're thinking about maybe Chris Paul or Halliburton or LeBron James. If we're going all time, you're thinking John Stockton and Magic Johnson. And that's true, right? Those things fall under basketball IQ. They fall under that umbrella. But also there is a such thing as being a smart player when the ball is not in your hands. And Buzelis was amazing at that in his rookie year. He is so good at recognizing cutting angles and being able to swiftly make those cuts. So maybe an initial ball handler was cut off by his defender, can find him maybe on a slot cut, and he could finish at the rim. And once he's able to get a big head of steam downhill off a cut, it is so hard to stop him because he's so quick and big and athletic. It's pretty much over with from there. So again, basketball IQ isn't just being able to make plays with the ball in your hands. It's also being able to recognize and have good court awareness and recognize what's available and go from there. You see a lot of shooters do this at a high level, and you also see a lot of cutters do this at a high level. And that is something Buzelis was so good at, was using his IQ and his athleticism to make these strong cuts to the rim and open up offense and create plays from there. The last thing I really loved from him was his shooting confidence. So coming into his rookie year out of the draft was not known as like this amazing lights out shooter, but he was actually pretty good and pretty confident from range last season. And he was at his best knocking down shots from the left corner. I believe it took around 135 attempts from the left corner and knocked down 41% of those. There were some things to get better at from other spots, but still showed a ton of confidence as a shooter, and wasn't known as being a great shooter coming out of the draft, but still put that on the floor and showed the ability to take shots from out there confidently, to get it up and not hesitate too much. And I think from there, the percentages are going to fill themselves out and improve. But I love the confidence from a guy who wasn't known as an elite level shooter coming out of his draft class. And obviously, when you can shoot, that opens up the offense because now defenders have to respect that and you're able to take advantage and get to the rim, just like I just talked about earlier in this video with his ability to attack downhill. So again, if he can just continue to expand his range and get consistent from there and get confident from each spot, which he did a ton in his first year, if he can just continue that, that'd be absolutely amazing and could help turn him into more of a complete offensive force. But again, love the confidence, great mechanics on the jumper, was amazing from the left wing. If he can continue to fill it out from other spots on the court, I think he's going to be in a much, much better position next year, and he's going to benefit the Bulls offense a ton. Now, obviously, as all things go, there are some points of improvement. For one, he could get better as far as his shot creation and off the dribble stuff goes, but that does take time to develop, right? It's almost a Giannis sort of thing where it took Giannis a few years to figure out how to create his own looks off the bounce, right? So I'm not in a rush with Buzelis to figure that out, but I do think that is a great skill set for him to focus and hone in on, especially with the possibility of having more minutes and more touches. Zach LaVine isn't here. DeRozan isn't here, right? So he's going to be a much higher priority from the get-go in his second year. He's going to have the opportunities to do it. Question is, can he put that on the floor, or at least start putting that on the floor this coming season? I also want to see what he can do defensively. So in his first year, he was a really good secondary rim protector and a good weak side, help side defender. But I think he has the physical tools and the athleticism to be a really good, versatile defensive guy and maybe a point of attack guy, right? Like, what's his ceiling on the defensive end? I think it's pretty high, and I do think he has the ability to be an all defensive level player at some point in time. So could this second year be the one where he establishes himself as one of the next great defensive forces in the NBA? Hopefully so. I hope he can get to that point as well, because I think he's got all of the tools physically to be able to be this elite level two-way force. So we'll see. I hope he can put it all on the floor this coming season. I think a good stat line for him would be around 15 to 17 points on improved all-around efficiency. But again, his development on the offensive and defensive end is going to be huge for the Bulls as they're trying to figure out the direction and path they're on right now as a franchise in the post sadly failed Zach LaVine era.